We are at the farm where I grew up. The barn behind me used to house heifers. Actually, both of these barns, you'll see that there's two heifer barns in the video clips that I'm going to show you. Both of them housed heifers from weaning age, weaned off of milk, up to breeding age. These barns were grouped by age and size. Each barn had several pens, and now these barns sit empty, and I'm going to explain to you why as I start showing you some video clips. But before I start showing you these video clips and tell you the background story of everything, I want to say that I know there's a lot of you that are concerned about our safety and you care about us. We understand safety. We care about our own safety. We care about each other. And so we do take the precautions necessary, but we may not do it up to your standards. If you think we're doing it wrong, just leave those comments to yourself. We don't need to hear everybody's story of somebody that they know getting hurt. That's not very encouraging to us.
As you will see in this video, there's two barns here. They sit side by side. There are no longer any animals housed in these barns. The reason for this is because last fall, my family decided to make the tough decision to sell the farm. Not just the cows, but everything. The cows, the equipment, the land, and the home farm. Another dairy farmer, only a couple miles from here, bought the cows, the home farm, and most of the land that they farmed. The reason we are here is because the new owner has new plans for this farm. All of these old barns are coming down to make room for one big barn to be built here soon, probably later in the spring or early summer. My dad asked me if we were interested in anything from these barns, and of course Kevin jumped at the opportunity. We've been in need of some steel for our new commodity barn that we put up last fall. We haven't bought the steel for it, and this is going to work perfect. We're just going to repurpose the steel that we're taking off and put it on the commodity barn. We're going to take off all the trusses and as much of the lumber, so the headers, the 2x4s, the 2x6s, the 2x10s. I don't know if the headers are 2x10s or 2x8s, but those will all be coming off, and hopefully we can salvage most of it. Our plan is to build a hay barn and use the 48-foot trusses for the hay barn and use the headers, of course, and as much of that lumber as we can salvage. And of course, we probably all have some projects. I know Mackenzie's been working on a project with some of the 2x4s. I have a couple projects in my mind that I'd like to use some of the lumber for. And so I think the lumber will be put to good use, as well as the steel and everything else that we can salvage out of there. So it's been all hands on deck as much as possible. Mainly it's been Sydney, Ethan, Sanders, and Kevin and I. Mackenzie has been out a couple times, but yeah, the Sydney and Ethan seem to be able to handle working up on the trusses better than I definitely could. But we're getting it done, and everything is going very smoothly. So these barns were not here when I lived here. I got married and moved out in 1998. So these barns were built in the early 2000s. The barn that we're taking down is the newest barn. All the steel is screwed down, which makes it a lot easier for removal. We just pop the screws and the sheets come right down. The other barn, part of it was screwed because it's an addition on, so the addition was screwed down, but all the other steel that's on there is nailed down, so it would be harder to remove. But we will probably be taking some of the lumber out of that barn. It's sad to see that the farm is sold. This is a centennial farm, meaning it's been in the family for over 100 years. My great-grandfather started it, and then my grandfather took over, and then my dad, and then my brothers. And I know that a lot of you are going to ask, why did they sell the farm? And you'll have all these questions, and I'm trying to answer them the best that I can. But to answer any question as to why they sold, basically is my dad's retirement age. He wanted to retire, and all of my brothers wanted to do something else. They didn't want to keep farming, so they will all be doing other jobs. So that's the main reason why they sold. Growing up on the farm, I can remember helping Grandpa feed the calves. When I got a little older, I started helping with milking cows. I did a little bit of field work, like merging hay, and I did haul some manure, and that kind of thing. It wasn't until later that I started hauling silage and stuff. I was married when I started driving truck. There's lots of memories on the farm and lots that I won't forget, but things are going to change. The new owner has plans to build one big barn, like I had said, and that barn, I do believe, if my numbers are correct, which they could be a little bit wrong, but the plans for the new barn is a 600 foot wide by about 1,200 foot long barn, and that will double the size of the herd. So when I milk cows here, we, at the time that I quit, which was in 99, I pretty much quit milking the day I gave birth to Sydney, and I've helped here and there when needed, but at that time they were milking 250 head in a double 16 parallel parlor, so it's twice the size of what Kevin and I have. Actually, Kevin designed his parlor a lot like my folks's. It's a little bit different, but he did design it after my folks's parlor. So then kind of after I left in the early 2000s, my brothers started taking over the farm, meaning there were more families that needed to be supported, so they started growing and growing. And I don't know if it was 4 or 5 years ago, they built a 50-stall rotary parlor. I do believe they were milking 900 at the time. So the new owner wants to double the herd size to about 2,000. So that barn that I was describing should hold around 2,000 head. The size of the barn that we're taking down is 48 foot wide by 220 foot long. So that gives you an idea. I think there's 56 trusses altogether, and I cannot tell you how many sheets of steel that is. Still working on that, but it won't be long. We've been working at this as much as we can for the last couple of weeks when the weather is permitting. It's not snowing, it's not raining, and it's not windy. Then we come out and work on it. My folks live about 15 minutes from our house, so it's not too far to travel. This is what's been keeping us busy the last couple of weeks.
Thank you all for watching. Hope you're having an amazing day. We will see you in the next video. Take care.